There we were, my crew, and I finally at last, enjoying a much-needed lunch break in the shade of a giant oak tree. After working 5 straight hours in the 90-degree heat, we had made very good progress on Karen's backyard patio redesign, despite her hovering and nitpicking all morning. Just as I unwrapped my sandwich, the sliding glass door burst open with such force that I feared it would break. "What do you think you're doing?" Karen shrieked, her face already moving that one-of-a-kind shade of red, which became way too familiar last week. "You don't just get to cut out and head home whenever you please. Union breaks don't make an appearance here. This is my property, and I need to get this done today." I tried explaining things to her politely, that as a matter of labor laws and our collective bargain, my crew could take a 30-minute lunch after well in days. More than 5 solid hours of work, she wasn't having it. "I don't care what your stupid contract says," she sneered with contempt oozing from each word. "I'm the HOA president, and I know rules better than anybody. Get back to work immediately, or I'll have your licenses yanked so fast your heads will spin." None of us moved. Her eyes widened in shock that somebody would be so brazen to disrespect her power. What happened next still feels like a dream. Karen strode over towards our equipment, took my impact driver and threw it onto the street. Then she assaulted the nail gun. My foreman Tom stood up to stop her, before she could destroy more expensive equipment, which only made her angrier. "Don't you touch me!" she yelled, while still throwing smaller tools onto the road. "This is assault. I'm calling 911. Looking back, I should have seen warning signs day one. Karen Westfield, the self-described most prominent person in Sunnyside Estates, had hired my contracting company on our excellent reputation for quality work. The job seemed to be a breeze, renovate her patio backyard into a work of luxury to envy her block neighbors. The price we agreed was profitable, which was my initial alarm call from day one that we were in over our heads. Karen addressed my workers as if they were personal slaves and not skilled craftsmen. She shouted demands on where we should position our gear, questioned our skill at every corner, and hung so close that my tileman Miguel would near run into her. 3 times she'd switch her mind on finishes we'd already bought, needing exchanges with no regard to restocking fees. She'd scoff at our work and say things like, "My 10-year-old could do better than that." With a scoffing smirk each morning, she'd greet us with a new list of complaints of and additional work not covered in the original contract. "While you're here, you might as well fix my garden lights too," she'd say with a snap of her wrist. "Do me a favor, and the HOA president, who approves all contractor permits in this complex," when I respectfully suggested that more work deserved. "More pay," she laughed. "Do you have any idea how many contractors would kill to get my referral I can make or break your business in this community?" The working conditions quickly disintegrated. Karen wouldn't let us use the bathroom, so my crew would have to go use facilities at a gas station 2 blocks from there. She'd shadow workers complaining about their technique and implying they were intentionally going slow to inflate her bill. Worse still, she began defaulting on agreed payment milestones, saying she'd pay when satisfied with quality. Despite our contract clearly laying out the payment schedule after 1 week of this abuse, my crew was at their breaking point. Tom suggested we walk away, but I was not going to leave a work assignment halfway. Then the lunch break debacle that finally pushed us over the edge. As Karen started again her rant about our laziness and incompetence, she moved on to wild accusations. "I saw one of your guys snooping around my garage earlier," she accused, pointing a finger at Miguel. "What did he steal? I want to search all your trucks right now." When I protested, allowing her to search our own property just for nothing, she picked up her phone. "That's it. You're all trespassing now. You're squatting on my property and won't leave." She dialed 911 with melodramatic flair, putting the call on speakerphone so we could hear her perform. "Emergency, please help," she asserted in a voice suddenly shaking. Nothing at all like the woman who'd been yelling at us just a moment before. "There are men at my house who won't leave. I feel threatened. They're ruining my property and won't leave. Please rush." The transformation was breathtaking, from raging tyrant to distraught damsel. In an instant, my crew and I shared glances of incredulity as she spun a completely made-up story. To the dispatcher, we remained calm, packing our personal items while photographing extensively with our phones. The state of the half-finished project. I felt that we'd need proof later. 2 police officers arrived in minutes. Officer Martinez and Officer Dawson approached cautiously, obviously awaiting a free-for-all scene from Karen's phone call. Karen hurried to them, her act now involving what appeared to be actual tears. "These men have been threatening me all morning," she shook. "They trashed my original patio intentionally, so I'd be responsible for additional work. And now they refuse to finish it unless I pay them double our deal, officer." Martinez scrutinized my crew 5-minute work preset guys standing silently alongside our trucks, and then again at Karen, "Ma'am. Would you mind showing me where the damage is?" he asked while Karen led them around, indicating the normal demolition that one does when doing a remodel. I quietly indicated Officer Dawson our agreement with Karen's name on it and pictures taken at particular times, showing our progress as per approved plans. I also indicated text messages where Karen had requested for changes without wanting to compensate for them, and video of her discarding our tools onto the street just a few minutes earlier. Before the officer's expression changed as he scrolled through the evidence, "How long have you been working with this client?" he asked softly. 8 days, I replied, "and we've documented everything since day 3, when the problem started, when Karen returned with Officer Martinez, still in the midst of her tangled tale of our supposed incompetence and threats." Officer Dawson cleared his throat, "Ma'am. I've seen evidence contradicting your claims. It seems that this is a contractual dispute and not a criminal issue." Karen's performance immediately vanished. "What paperwork? What did you present to me? Whatever it is, they've clearly manipulated it. Do you know who I am? I'm the president of the Sunnyside Estates, HOA. I can have your manager on the phone with one call." That was when I knew with absolute certainty that we were finished with this job. I calmly informed Karen that we would be terminating our contract under paragraph 6 of the harassment clause, which he had violated quite clearly. Numerous times, we would be removing our equipment and materials, and she would be getting an itemized statement for work completed thus far. The expression of shock on her face was rather comical. "You can't stop working for me. I'll ensure that you don't work at another job in this county." As we loaded our trucks under the watchful gaze of the neighbor, officers began emerging from their homes to determine what was going on. Karen, realizing that she had an audience, attempted saving face by declaring loudly that she had fired us for doing poor quality work. But the neighbors also saw the police vehicles, and some of them had already witnessed her throwing our equipment earlier. One brave man, an older man named Frank, who resided down the street, approached Officer Martinez. "If you're inquiring regarding how Karen treats service staff, my security cameras have documented much over the years." He was talking in hushed tones, yet loud enough so that those surrounding him could hear. "And I'm not the only one with evidence." The subsequent weeks unleashed a torrent of discoveries regarding Karen's reign of terror as HOA president, following our filing of the civil action. For breach of contract and harassment, we discovered we weren't alone. Our social media post regarding the ordeal opened the floodgates. Landscapers, plumbers, roofers, and even the community pool maintenance company came forward with similar accounts of bullying, payment withholding, and threats to their licenses and future employment in the neighborhood. More disturbing were the accounts from other residents. Cindy from 2 doors down stated that Karen threatened to put a lien on her house for unauthorized garden gnomes. The Williams family had been repeatedly fined for invisible infractions whenever they voted against Karen's ideas at HOA meetings, and several residents reported that Karen routinely used her master key to gain entry to homes for inspections when owners were absent. The turning point came when a former HOA treasurer by the name of David provided police financial records that showed discrepancies in the association's accounts. Karen had apparently been approving payments to contractors who had actually performed work on her own private property. Not community areas, she had also been forging approval signatures for repairs on her own home, including our patio project, in order to avoid the very permit process she used against others. Police expanded their investigation by obtaining warrants to investigate bank accounts and HOA records. In 3 weeks, Karen was arrested at an HOA meeting where, ironically, she had been campaigning for severe punishment against homeowners breaking contractual promises. The charges were embezzlement, forgery, fraud, intimidation, and misappropriation of community funds, amounting to over $68,000. The courtroom was packed for Karen's sentencing hearing 2 months. Hence, the judge, visibly angry at the magnitude of her scams, passed a 3-year sentence with 1 year to be spent time in county jail and 2 years on probation. She was also ordered to pay restitution of $112,000 to the HOA and property owners, along with court fees. When the sentence was announced, Karen's face distorted with anger. "This is preposterous," she yelled as officers stepped forward to take her away. "Don't you people understand? I was improving our community. I was bringing up our property values." Her voice broke as reality suddenly came out of the blue to slap her. "Who's going to run the HOA? In my absence, these people have no idea what they're doing." Those were her final words before she was thrown out of the courtroom, still convinced herself victim of a conspiracy against her reign.